It's almost fall, and where I live, that means that registration season is about to begin. If that is bringing up lots of terror for you right now because you need to get your registration forms together, keep listening because I might have a little bit of a shortcut for you. I am Laura from Laura's Adventure Resources, and I have been running into this issue every year. What am I going to do about registration? Fortunately, I've been a director long enough that I can just pull up my old files and do a little bit of editing. But what I really wished I'd had when I begun was a blueprint for where to start. So I have some things to show you and some things to share with you that I hope will make your beginning of your year just a little bit easier. To start with, we got to recruit, right? So for several years now, I've had people come to me and say, hey, do you have something I can hand to people that might be interested in adventures? Like, I want to invite my friends, but I don't know how to explain adventures to them. Maybe you've been there. So this year I finally went, okay, I got to do something. So this is what I made. On the front, it talks this is kind of a little bit of a letter of sorts to the kid. On the inside, we have a bunch of frequently asked questions, all sorts of things like, what is adventurers, to who can join, and various questions they might have when you meet, all those sorts of things. And then on the back, we have all the main details. I mean, not on this one, but on the one that I gave to my club. So for that, we've got a registration. We're going to put in our date and time. The date would be great. And, the day of the week, when our first meeting is. And more information, that's where you put your name and phone number and maybe an email address and the address for the church. Because if you have non-Adventist kids coming, they're going to need to know where to find you. So this is completely editable. So you can edit it and make it all fit your club. In fact, I highly recommend it because some of the things in here about my club aren't going to fit your needs. So you're going to want to change it up so that it fits what you need. But hopefully this gives you a starting place. In addition to that, I've got bulletin inserts. These just waiting for you to put a little bit of information on them and email them to your church secretary so they can put them in your church bulletin. Depending on how that works at your church. That's how it works in mine. If your church is like, we're not printing in color, there is a grayscale option. They are identical except for one is in color, one is not. And there are different kids on the two sides, but put it together and it is one piece of paper. Everything is formatted for 8.5 by 11. If you are living in a country that you use A4 paper, if you leave me a comment either here or on my website, I'll see what I can do to help you out with that. But you gotta leave me a comment. So I need to know that you need that. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to do it. But if there's people who want it, I would love to help you. And then registration. So I've wanted to put together a list of some of our policies and stuff for our new parents. And I used to just have a stack of paper. I finally got it into a booklet. Another director mentioned a handbook, and I went, ooh, hey, that's a good idea. So we have our handbook. Again, this is something that you're going to want to edit to fit your club because your rules are different than my club's rules. But we've got the adventure pledge and law, because not everybody knows that, so this is a good reference point. Uniform explanation. I remember when my kids first started in adventure, I was being really confused. Our director, when she'd send out messages, she didn't really clarify what she was talking about. It'd just be like, oh man, I can't remember what they're called now. It'd be like uniform A or B or something, and I'd be like, what's that? Anyway, so we try to make it really clear and simple. We usually call it field uniform, and I usually mention that they should wear their t-shirt or dress uniform. But although our club does provide a number of the main pieces for the uniform, the shirt and the pants or the jumper, obviously there's other pieces that we do not provide, like the shoes and all that kind of stuff. So this tells parents exactly what they need to get for their kids, which parts we provide, which parts they need to do. Then over here we have our health policy. Your health policy might look different than mine, but it's always really helpful to know exactly what parents should be, what rules you'd like them to follow. Our attendance policy. The biggest thing for the attendance policy that I have on mine is begging parents to let me know what they're planning on doing. So if you're not going to be there, I like to know in advance. Maybe you like that. Maybe you don't. You'll want to structure it according to what you want. I don't worry too much about people who miss, but I like to know that they're going to be gone and whether or not they want to make up the work, because that makes it easier for me. So I have that here. And then on the back, we have what we use for communication. So in my club, we use the app Band. And so for that, I need to tell them how to get set up on it. Now, if you don't use Band, you'd want to change this up and put whatever you do use. Although if you're looking for a way to communicate with your parents because the way you're using isn't working, I really do like Band. This is not a sponsored video. I found it to be helpful. And then over here, I've got my information about background checks because in our club, we require everybody to have a background check, but we got to figure out how to get that information out to them so they can get it done. And that is our handbook. It's pretty short, but I like to have it all set up and ready for them for the new year. And then on to the forms, because of course we got forms, lots of forms. Not really, it's not too bad. So to start with, I have a check sheet for them. I really like this because it helps me know what they have done. And it also, I feel like it increases the chances that they're going to do some of the stuff that there isn't a paper form in here for. So we have a check sheet, and then there's a place to put their name. When they turn this in, it means that everything is done. Or at least that's what's supposed to mean. Then we've got the basic registration sheet. This is the main registration sheet. This is the super important one that we all want. You will, of course, want to edit it to fit your club. You'll also find in various places things that don't quite make sense because it is edited to take out my club information. So in front, for instance, it says Club Adventurer Club, which would be weird. I assume if you have named your club Club Adventurer Club, if you've named your club Club Adventurer Club, tell me about it because I've never heard of that before. But so you're going to want to take out that and actually put in your name. And you're going to want to read through all of these things and do that because there's all sorts of places where it just says name or director name or club name or church name or just name that you'd want to fix. This is the kind of stuff we want, though, for my club is we have a lot of contact information and what levels they've completed. You know, most of my parents don't actually know that, so I go through and I check that off later for them. We have the applicant commitment where the kids commit to being adventurers and also where the parents commit to being adventurers. And then I also have a little thing down here at the bottom. What do you want the director or your child's teacher to know about your child or your family? This question has been seriously underutilized so far. I think this year during registration, I'm going to explain it to my parents better. And just in case you're wondering how to use it, here's my why I have it on here. Because sometimes there's something that if we knew about the kids, we could do a better job reaching them. So, for instance, if a kid has dyslexia, I really want to know that, right? I usually work with older kids, and I don't care if your kid can't read. I mean, I care, but I'm not going to judge anybody, but I will structure my class so that your kid is never going to be told to read something out loud if I know they don't read well, right? I will do everything I can to hide the fact that they're struggling with reading to their classmates. This is not a thing that I want to be showing up. But if I don't know about it, it's really hard for me to work around it, right? If a kid really their world lights up, if somebody asks them about Minecraft or Pokemon or whatever the thing is that they love, I would be so thrilled, so over the moon thrilled if a parent would leave that information for me. Sometimes there's other stuff too, sometimes if there's kids with custody issues, sometimes knowing that, getting a heads up would be good. So that's kind of what that's for, is whatever that thing is that you're it'd be really great if they knew that. That's what that's for. It is a really tiny spot because I just had to stick it on there, but the whole back is empty. So I am going to work on trying to utilize that question a little bit more this year and hope that parents answer it, because I have definitely run into times where I'm like, that would have been good to know 6 months ago. So, but we keep learning, you know? All right, so after your main registration form, there is the medical consent form. This is basically straight from what my conference has. I think I updated the logo a couple years ago, but logo's over here, sorry. Anyway, so you might check with your conference to see if there's a particular form that you're supposed to be filling out for your conference. And obviously any of these things, if your conference is like, these are the ones you need to fill out, then you should be doing those and not mine. Mine doesn't have that, so we kind of make our own. We have a photo policy. I don't know what your church does, but my church feels really strongly about a photo policy. So this is actually their photo policy, and I've just removed any of the parts about my church. So check it over. You're going to find there's going to be stuff in here that doesn't fit your church's photo policy. You totally want to update it to fit, you know, what your club does. And then the dues. We don't necessarily have to have a worksheet, but having a worksheet just makes it a little simpler for everybody. It's very laid out, and you can see exactly, you know, as a parent, you can see exactly what you're doing. You will, of course, want to edit this to fit your dues. So anyway, that is my prep for registration. I am going to have all of these things printed out in mass. Probably way more than I need, because I actually have a very small club. But, you know, the year that I print the number I need for the kids I have, I will end up with more kids. I should maybe try that. Has anyone tried that? Just like under prepare and then get hit with like twice as many, 3 times, like a way to grow a club. Anyway, about the only other thing that I will be adding to this to prepare for my registration is going to be a calendar that will go out to all the parents. Mine is not ready yet. I still have a couple more weeks on that one. So I have a calendar that I'll do, and I usually will have a full-size calendar, and then I will do a half-size one as well, because I love the half-size. It fits in my planner really well. So I make it only for me. So I will do a calendar that will be part of the registration materials. And then I will need to put together some pages just for my records for like uniform fittings and things like that. But once I have those together and it's all been printed out, I am ready for registration. And I am excited about that because I actually still have a little bit more time until mine is coming up. But I am trying to be on top of things this year. So here's hoping that sticks around. Anyway, how is your registration process going? Are you ready? Have you already started? I would love to know where you are at in the process and how that is all going for you. And so if you can leave me a comment, I'd be so excited. Oh, and of course, if you want any of the printables, there's going to be a link below to my website, which will take you to where you need to go. These are all going to be on Canva, and you can edit them to all fit your club's needs. Anyway, I hope that you are having a wonderful week, and I hope that your beginning of your year, if that's where you're at, just goes amazing, and you just have the best year and the best group of kids this year. See you next time. Bye.